Yeah, so it's me.
First, let me start with the important things. Can you see his hat, Bunny? Here, hang on a minute. Let me get her down in there. Can you see that, bud? They don't have those in Australia. I've got one in black and gray and one in green and white. I have one in blue with the regular logo on it, and I could pick those up for you fairly reasonably and send them to you if you'd like. If you'll just send me your email address, send it to inspectorjury@gmail.com. Now then, let's talk about the important part. People here are extremely polarized about race and sex and religion. In the 60s, it was a big deal that Jack Kennedy was elected president because he was Catholic, and you just didn't elect a Catholic to the presidency. So I guess you could say we've come a long way. One of the jokes that was told in the 60s was, what's the largest animal in the world? And it was the Democratic donkey. His head was in Rome in the Vatican City, and his ass was in Washington. So you can see that kind of thing is a part of the United States' very fabric of what we're made of. I think a lot of racial tension comes from black people still carrying a grudge for slavery and white people still feeling guilty about it. When you feel guilty about something, you tend to want to ignore it or get away from the people that make you feel guilty. So that causes tension. And when something has happened to your people that was totally unfair, it makes you angry, especially if you think that the troubles that you're having today are either directly or indirectly related to what happened to your people years ago. So that brings us up today. And let's talk about a woman president or a black president. Barack Obama is a terribly articulate, very presentable, very likable man. The problem is he keeps trying to tell everybody that he's not Washington kind of person, that he is outside the system. But the way he's saying it is he's basically saying, I'm inexperienced. And that scares people, not because he's black, but because he acts like he's inexperienced. That brings us to the woman, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Rodman Clinton. I think that her and Dennis might be related, but I can't swear to it. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, when she was First Lady, she tried to socialize American medicine and did such a horrible job that it was voted down, crushing defeat for the presidency, because they all expected that everybody would accept it. It was just poorly thought out. And that was her only example we have of her leadership. And it wasn't something that would instill confidence. Her running is causing the Democratic Party great difficulty, but she doesn't care about that. She cares about being president, and that ego is something else that makes me leery of her personally. What I mean by that is this: there will be people running against her, very qualified people, in the primaries. And what will happen is a lot of Republican conservatives will vote for her in the primaries so that she wins, because they'll think that their candidate has a better chance against her, because even many members of her own party wouldn't vote for her. So What we're having here in both cases is people who are running who probably should have a chance to win but don't really. So I wouldn't get all excited about seeing a black president or a woman president in the White House this election. I wish that was the case. I'm kind of like you. I'd like to see us get it out of the way and move on down the road. But as long as good intentions happen, like the Equal Opportunities Act, well, there's going to be problems there too. The Equal Opportunities Act basically says that if a minority-owned business bids the same and is as equally good as the white-owned business, I don't know how else to put that, majority-owned business, then the minority business will get the contract. The problem is how do you weigh all those other factors? How do you weigh how good they are, how long they've been in business, how well they back their products, that kind of thing. And so what happens is a lot of that stuff gets glossed over, and in some cases it goes to the minority business, and in other cases it doesn't. But the point is that every time it goes to the minority business, the majority people think, wow, they screwed us out of that job. And I'm sure that every time the majority business gets it, the minority-owned business goes, wow, they screwed us out of that job. Whereas before, maybe that wasn't brought up as a racial issue at all, or as a minority issue at all. There are, here in the States, women-owned business organizations which get together and show women how to get contracts, which is a good thing. But I just don't know what to think about it personally. I think that that you should be able to hire who you want. And if you're the government, you put it out for bids, you should take the lowest bidder, whoever that be. And race or gender or whoever owns the business shouldn't even come into it. But that's just me, and maybe I'm being idealistic. But that kind of good intentions breeds more tension than relieves more tension. So it's that kind of thing that gets in the way in a lot of cases. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but the United States is not a democracy. It's a republic. And therefore, it's quite possible for the popular vote to pick one man and the electoral college to pick the other man. And therefore, the man who has got the least popular vote becomes president. That's, I believe, what happened this time, as a matter of fact. And look what happened when they don't listen to the people.